So I actually think this is going to be one of the favorite videos that we've done. All right, let's do this. Giddy up. Hey guys, Phil with the Minuteman Moment, and today we're turning our video on the House-passed version of Red Flag Gun Confiscation orders in the National Defense Authorization Act into a two-part series. Since we filmed part one, Gun Owners of America has been putting pressure on Congress by educating you, the public, the voter, the American citizen, about what happened. To recap, 135 Republicans of the House of Representatives voted for the NDAA. Within the NDAA was a provision for red flag gun confiscation. And here's the proof. In this monster of a bill, it says a military court protective order issued on an ex parte basis shall restrain a person from possessing, receiving, or otherwise accessing a firearm. Now, these gun confiscation orders would only apply to members of the military, people subject to the United States Code of Military Justice. And because of the work of GOA and its grassroots, the congressmen who voted for the NDAA with red flag gun confiscation have been all over social media and probably street corners all over the country explaining their vote for a bill that contained gun confiscation. Now that GOA's made this a public issue, these members will say, hey, this vote doesn't matter. Gun confiscation that's in NDAA will be taken out in conference. I only briefly mentioned what conference is in our part one video, but I need to go into that a bit more now. A conference is required when the House and Senate each pass different versions of the same bill. In this case, the House and soon the Senate will have passed two different versions of the NDAA. When that happens, members of both parties in the House and Senate will meet to work out those differences and come up with one bill they can agree on. They'll then take that agreement, and each chamber, House and Senate, will then vote on the same bill again. If it passes, that goes to the White House for the president's signature. So according to some members of Congress who voted for this, it's okay that gun confiscation passed the House because when the House and Senate meet to work out those differences, the offending language will be removed. But now that everything is public, they're defending their vote for red flag gun confiscation by saying, hey guy,
You said it, guy.
you don't need to worry about this terrible vote. I was part of a swampy, smoke-filled backroom deal, and I was given assurances about how all this plays out. How do you feel about that? It looks to us like they're putting your rights up like gambling chips. I know you know this happens, but this is a nuts and bolts explanation of how it all goes down. And here's two more things to think about. By putting gun confiscation in the NDAA, they all needlessly politicized national defense. Second, the more a bill like gun confiscation passes one chamber of Congress, the more pressure it puts on the other chamber to pass it. I mean, I can see a scenario in this Congress or a future Congress where someone says something like, my friends, red flag gun confiscation, well, they won't call it that. It'll probably be something like the mom and apple pie bill. My friends, the mom and apple pie bill has already passed the House twice. The People's Chamber has spoken. It's time for the Senate to act and send this bill to the president's desk. You see, it can create momentum for a bill. That's a perfectly fine strategy for building pressure to pass legislation. There's lots of pro-gun bills that I'd like to see passed using the same strategy. And I'm sure the anti-gunners want to use it to pass gun confiscation. But I don't want members of Congress who are telling us they're pro-2A engaging in a process that can only help the anti-gunners get a win down the road. One more thing before I bounce. One of the objections to GOA calling out this terrible process is that people who oppose it have no strategy. Accusing the good guys of not having a strategy is like day one of class in DC Swamp University. It's just transparent and meaningless. And what was the strategy when all those years ago Congress passed the NFA? How about the strategy for passing the '68 Gun Control Act? Or the Hughes Amendment to FOPA, or even NICS? I'm sure that our betters thought they had a great strategy for all those terrible pieces of gun control. Or maybe they're not so strategic after all. And while I'm talking about the Hughes Amendment and the Firearm Owners Protection Act, we can use a bit of history to help us understand why it's terrible to ever let these bills pass, even if it's just one chamber and there's a deal to eventually remove it. In the past, gun owners have lost big when Republicans roll the dice with must-pass spending bills. That's how we got the Lautenberg misdemeanor gun ban, the Gun-Free School Zones Act, and the infamous Fix NICS bill. Ultimately, politics is pretty unpredictable at times. No strategy should ever gamble with our fundamental rights. Anyway, that's it for today. You can check out all of our Minuteman Moment videos on YouTube and the Warrior Poet Society Network. See you next time.